the AI is going on.
Mark Knowlton, the founder and CEO of Tech a game-changing new software for tech recruitment. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I created TechScreen after I had spent about 20 years of painfully and slowly acquiring technical knowledge so I could do my own technical interviews. Because beginning of my career, I split between working at agencies and consulting for software companies and hiring their full-timers. And I noticed that there was so much, it was so impactful to be able to do a legitimate technical interview on a candidate before presenting them to the managers. I wouldn't just present the resume and let the manager figure it out. And what I've discovered is that in IT hiring, there is a fatal single point of failure in the IT hiring process. Would you care to know what it is? Believe it or not, when the manager reads a resume, that is a single point of failure in the IT hiring process. And I actually have the math to back it up. Because I recently ran a poll on LinkedIn, and the target was IT hiring managers. And so that it was kind of an open-ended question. Like, when you're reviewing resumes to see, okay, who's my short list of people, I actually have a snippet of the poll.
To be clear, this is a LinkedIn poll.
This is from LinkedIn. Yep. So I asked the question, how long are you reading a resume? Half of them said under 10 seconds, and another 25% said between 10 and 30 seconds. And so what this means is that they can't possibly be reading resumes for comprehension. They are doing a rapid fire rejection festival, and they're probably just looking for some string of buzzwords that imply some type of knowledge or experience, and then they move to the next one. And there's an industry organization called the Tech Alliance. They are recording submittal to start ratios of like 11 or 12 or 13 to 1.
Okay.
Think about this. A 13 to 1 submittal to start ratio. That means they've got an accuracy of just under 8%. Now, only one of two things can be true. Now, this polls is gathered from hundreds of participating companies, and all of these companies employ multiple recruiters naturally. So we're talking about probably over 1 million submittals a year go into determining these submittal to start ratios for the industry. And so the only way you could get like 8% accuracy from the recruiters of actually submitting someone gets hired, either every single recruiter was hopelessly incompetent, or the method the managers are using to determine who moves forward is just undermining the recruiter's efforts. They are not reading resumes. They're doing a buzzword scan.
Yeah. I did used to work in IT recruitment many years ago, pre-AI, and it was a case of you'd get so many CVs that you would be looking at the executive summary, if you like, and you just go, which language are they speaking? Which language do they know? In terms of Ruby on Rails or C++ or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then we think, right, well, no, they've not got that, they've not got that, they've not got that. And because of the volume, it just made your life very, very difficult to go into the minutiae of every CV. So I could see this being a massive game changer.
Oh, absolutely. And so, because what we want to do is, so our application has libraries of technical questions and answers. So it solves the recruiter's problem. What do I ask a Java developer?
Yeah.
What version of Java are you on? I mean, that's not going to tell you much of anything about their competence. But so our screen will present the question with the answer right in front of. So the UI is effectively a script for the recruiter. But throughout our history, the recruiter was the one who had to determine if the candidate's answers were in fact accurate. So we would have a checkbox next to the content, but the recruiter was on the hook to determine, was this answer accurate and thorough, etc. Last year, when we deployed our AI Verify, a proprietary AI technology we designed, it records the conversation, it converts the audio into a transcript. And then the AI compares the transcript with the curated database of provably correct information about Java or .NET or Python or fill in blank. And so the manager now actually has something to read, and it's directly related to the candidate's competence in a key technology. And if you're using our platform the way we encourage, meaning when you do a job intake call, work with the manager, cherry pick the questions right out of the library, so the manager said, yeah, these questions are right on point with the competencies I would expect this candidate to have. And then the manager gets to read them an analysis of how well or poorly the candidate performed in answering questions that were based on their tech stack.
So this is a time-saving exercise, but more than anything, it's an economic exercise.
Yeah, it's saving their time. Instead of taking 30 seconds to scan a bunch of buzzwords, keep it to 30 seconds if that's what works, because you don't have an endless amount of time to look at each individual CV. Why not read something that actually describes whether or not the person has the technical competence or insight in a given area of technology? For example, like when I would talk to a Java developer, one of the questions I would always ask would to be explain how garbage collection works. That's one of the critical moving parts in Java. And even if you're a junior, no one can say it's an unfair question. So if you say that you should pay me to do a job that involves coding in Java, and they say, oh, garbage collection, I don't know that. It's like, but it was a great bit of litmus paper, as it were, to tell me how much or how well does this person really understand Java and the runtime environment.
I'm just wondering who your target it is. Who are you speaking to with this, Mark?
So it's basically going to be two groups. It's either going to be folks who work for IT staffing firms or corporate talent acquisition departments who have to hire a lot of IT people. Even though it's mostly weighted toward development, we certainly have networking and system engineers and DevOps types folks. But anything that you would consider to be information technology positions.
Okay.
We just happen to do more business in the staffing world because it's the shortest path to $1. Fill a seat, get paid. But corporate talent acquisition for companies who need to hire a lot of IT people, whether it's a software company or just a company who has a lot of technical people that build applications and support technology for the company to run its operation.
In terms of the shift towards AI and AI engineering, prompt engineering, noduling, that kind of thing, is your software able to help recruiters in that area? Because it potentially is moving rapidly in that direction.
Well, in terms of, so where our technology really helps our users is by helping them rapidly determine who has a technical competence. Our tool helps establish actual evidence to the manager that this person absolutely possesses the knowledge that makes them worth our time and consideration, or this person with the great resume has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, because the resume can be very misleading.
You can fudge your CV, can't you, to suit any particular position that you're applying for?
But, absolutely. Absolutely. And the flip side, one year, I actually placed a candidate, a C++ developer, at a major telco who had a super high bar for technical acumen, and person hadn't coded in 4 years, and the resume made it very clear that they hadn't coded. But I did an interview with this person in C++ and was really, really tough on them. But the candidate did great. And it was my email to the manager detailing what we talked about. So I was able to say, hey, we started out with access privileges, he nailed them cold, then we got into function overloading for functional overriding. He did great. Then we get the memory management, which is where they really need to, where the rubber hits the road for you, based on our job intake call. And here's what he said. And I was able to finish the email with, I'm convinced this person is worth your time. And so this candidate with a terrible resume, who no recruiter in their right mind would have called in 100 years, generated a $22,000 fee.
Wow.
Because we presented evidence. And that's exactly what our tool does. And think of it this way, because most people are sane and they're not as rock stupid and mule stubborn as me, who chose to take 20 years of their life to painfully acquire technical knowledge by the eyedropper full, right? And be able to be the surrogate for the manager and do just an absolutely unforgivingly harsh and deep technical interview. So no recruiter wants to put themselves through that pace. Instead, if they're using our platform, they inherit those superpowers instantaneously, and they can generate a detailed report that will read as if a dev manager took 90 minutes to write the analysis after having listened to the whole interview.
Bingo. That sounds on point, Mark. And I'm just thinking, so if we're going to go straight to the chase, if it was 3 steps for this software solution,
Yep.
what's step 1? What's step 2? What's step 3?
Yeah, and if I could show you how quick and easy it is. So you can turn yourself into a dev manager with a couple of mouse clicks. What we're going to do here, Claire, is we're simply going to simulate an interview. I have a recording of a candidate. So we have pre-built interviews and we have custom, which you can cherry pick questions right out of the library. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to say advanced Java, and I'm going to make myself the guinea pig. So here's where we turn on AI Verify. So we have integrations built into Microsoft Teams or Zoom if you use those tools as part of your job. And so now we're going to create the interview. It has a standard question of a question. And what the user does is as the candidate is giving their answer, the recruiter will simply, when they hear parts of the answer being offered by the candidate, they will just click here and give them credit. And every single question has a content section and a delivery section. And so here, for the sake of our demo and our audience, we're just going to quickly go through here, and we'll assume that we're just hearing the candidate's answers. Here's my favorite subject, garbage collection. And so candidates giving their answer, and we're giving them credit when they give parts of it. And let's see.
This is all being recorded by Zoom, so the questions are to ask are prompted.
Exactly. Exactly. So this screen just serves as a script for the recruiter. The candidate doesn't see any of this. They're just having a conversation, and they're probably very pleasantly surprised that they're getting questions like this from a recruiter.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to finish up here. I'm just going to grab a recorded interview we previously did, but it's responding to the same exact interview. All we're going to do is upload to the cloud. See here, it says processing. Now, we just recorded a 92 for this candidate based on the answer content we checked in the content box and then the delivery. Our scoring algorithm gives a weight to each question. And so here, the recruiter recorded a 92 for the candidate, but you can see here the analysis result, it says processing. So you're going to keep an eye on this clock. But just to give you an idea, this is what our report historically would show. They get to see the interview itself. They see what questions were asked. They'll see what parts of the question the candidate got, what part they missed, as well as the efficacy for the delivery. So the manager at least had some evidence as to whether this person seemed to know what they're talking about. Now, of course, in this case, it was based on the recruiter's assessment. But let's see how we're doing here. It's still processing. Let's see how far along the clock we are.
I mean, I suppose. I mean, the processing time, I suppose, is not hugely irrelevant if it's under 5 minutes.
Imagine, Claire, if you're sending the resume, and let's say you're one of 24 vendors, right? All the other vendors, all 23 vendors you're competing with, are sending resumes. You're sending a resume,
Yeah.
and you're sending a VAR analysis report that's generated by our AI Verify. Take note of some of the editorial observation. Highlights the flexibility of interfaces that are being implemented by any class and hierarchy in the role and polymorphism.
Okay.
And so imagine the manager having the benefit of this level of analysis. And, if the manager was just adamantly insistent on limiting their examination of each candidate to that, 10 to 30 seconds, they could just scan, one of these answers, pick an answer that they, to a question like garbage collection that they really care about. And it's like, okay, take 20 seconds to read how they did in the garbage collection question to see if they're interesting. And so the point here is that the manager has a detailed analysis of how well the person can understand and explain things, which gives them so much insight into whether or not they have the competence. The managers are no longer guessing. That is the best they can do when they review buzzwords. And to use the verb read is not even a fair descriptor.
Yeah.
They're not reading anything.
No.
They are scanning buzzwords, applying context at the speed of thought, and then they say next, they move to the next one, and then that's how you can have 13 to 1 submittal to start ratios for IT staffing companies. Because think of this, if you had a million submittals, but only 8% of them getting through, that means the recruiters sent in 996,000 candidates of unqualified people. It's statistically impossible for that high percentage to be completely unqualified.
Yeah. So we're hitting a mark in actually, let's give people a fair crack at the whip here. And also,
Yep.
this, you touched on something in one of our other conversations, though, about not asking them to change their behaviors in many ways.
Right.
We're still giving them the capability of doing that quick. I've got to get through this. To get through this, but I need more detailed information. And if I want that detailed information, it's already pulled out for me, and I can dive deeper if I really want to.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And let me just add one. The only other types of tools in the marketplace that are attempting to provide useful insight of the candidate's knowledge to the manager are coding exercises. But the sad truth about coding exercises is that many times the candidate will refuse to take them. Well, number one, the recruiter sends a link to the coding exercise. They are now cut out of the process. They play no role in that. In fact, they're missing out on an opportunity to engage. So they have to hope that the candidate takes it in a timely fashion, that they don't cheat, right?
Yeah.
Or what if the candidate says, I have 3 offers at my price. Why am I going to spend 90 minutes doing this stuff? And there are many others that said, we don't think this is a realistic exercise. That's not how things work in the real world, or there's some kind of bias or something. But the point is that most of the people who are asked to do a coding exercise refuse to take it for a number of different reasons. So our tool provides useful information about the candidate's competence, but a candidate would never be scared away by having a conversation with the recruiter. They're willing to work with the recruiter. Of course, they're signing up to having a conversation. The fact that they're asked legitimate questions, but they're not asked to do a coding exercise or something similar, it's a wonderful user experience for them. And the cool thing is it becomes an experiential learning exercise for the recruiter.
It sounds like something that anybody who is searching and sifting and hoping to find the right needle in the haystack is going to say, oh, the heavens have just opened and the angels started singing. This is a solution that potentially could be a game changer for us. I know this is out in the market already.
Yep.
It's proprietary. free software, so this is built by you.
Yeah, we built it completely. So, well, we're not going to reveal our secret
Oh,
sauce,
yeah. Sorry.
but what we built is completely proprietary. And the thing that I love about this is that recruiters are asked to find and qualify and submit candidates. Would you rather get paid for every 1 out of 12 candidates you submit, or would you like to get paid for 1 out of 2 of candidates you submit?
Yeah, for sure. You've got a
Take your
calculator.
time. Take your time. Don't be too hasty. 1 out of 12 or 1 out of 2?
You've got a calculator, haven't you, Mark? Wow,
Yes.
you can work all this out. What's the feedback been like then so far?
Well, and I just want to show you what feedback looks like. Come on. So this is a thread, and I shared with this manager work with. So here it is. It's like, hey, Bill, this is an example of our analysis. This was the question on class loaders. There's his feedback.
This is spectacular, Mark. Wow. So you're like, no, I'm not insane.
Yeah.
I'm just a genius.
And so that is the reaction
It's
that
getting some good feedback.
that I got. Yeah. And
Amazing.
the hiring managers I shared this, their jaws were on the ground. When I'd send it to a staffing person, because they're not technical, they didn't grasp the gravity of what it was they were reading. But when I
No, they
shared
don't.
it with the managers, their jaws are on the ground.
If the messaging's not there or not clear enough, the message gets missed. But for lay people or for people, like me, who worked in,
Yeah.
who worked in recruitment, and if they heard about this product and they were like, oh, this is going to make my life so much easier, they see it on a feed or they see it on an ad or they see it somewhere on a podcast or whatever, and they imagine I'm going to be earning 60, 70K commission if we get out of this. I'm going to take it, I'm going to pass the link over to my tech
Yeah.
and say, take a look at this.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing I love about this product is that it doesn't make anyone change the normal process they're already doing.
Exactly.
The the recruiter's talking with a candidate. Most of the time, it's going to be in a video call, like in Zoom or Teams or something like that. One of our clients actually has a requirement. They have to send either the video of the interview or at least a screen grab because they're worried about these candidates, fake candidates. A lot of times they would have the rock star show up for the phone screen, and then some bumpkin shows up for the job that the rock star got on a one call interview. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, make sure, hey, no, literally our biggest customer has a requirement where they have to do a screen grab. Okay, here's what the Claire that I interviewed, this is what she looked like. Make sure this person shows up for your screen, Mr. Manager.
Yeah.
And so they're already using these tools to do their interviews.
Okay.
We simply leverage the built-in recording facilities that these products already have.
Yeah.
And so now they're just sending an additional document because you always have to send the resume. That is not going to go away. But here's an interesting thing. Do you know who invented the resume?
Oh no, it's a pub quiz question. I don't.
So you're probably not going to get it, but you're going to know who it is. Leonardo da Vinci invented the resume in 1542. When he would be pitching some patron, they would ask him rightfully, can you tell us about some of the things you've accomplished? So in a genius stroke, he said, what if I just listed my professional accomplishments on a piece of parchment so I could just hand it to them with a bunch of bullets? And so what is a CV other than a static collection of professional work history and achievements? But now we just figure out a way to encapsulate the candidate's knowledge. Verify is like the recruiter's co-pilot, the little mini dev manager, colleague who's going to be sitting in the side chair invisibly listening to the whole interview and then writing an analysis that would take a human engineering manager 90 minutes to write. We can do it in 90 seconds.
That's fantastic. So if anybody wants to obviously try your software out, is there a trial period or how does that work?
Well, here's the interesting thing for staffing companies. So the short answer is yes. But what we do with our staffing companies is like, listen, we don't want to talk about terms and do free trials. We want to prepare you to do a live demo for your best customer and just say, hey, listen, we're piloting this AI Innovate platform. We really would love your feedback, and to generate that report in real time right in front of that manager and say, we don't want to talk money until your customer tells you what they think, how they would like to get submittals like this. And so when we engage with the customer, it's like, look, we don't want you to pay a penny. We just want you to show your customer what you're now capable of doing, and they'll tell you if they'd like to receive submittals like this.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
so it's effectively a free trial because we want them to get proof before anything happens.
And what's the kind of lead time on that for you?
Well, we could turn that around in 24 hours.
So you're about the speed as well, Mark. So honestly, I really do love the software. I love the fact that it's proprietary. I love the fact that it's doing something quite different in this space, and a space that is just going right as well. It's going to be a great time for you. So I just want to say thank you for coming onto the show. And
no, my pleasure.
Yeah, it's been
I'm super excited. And don't be a stranger, and they can find out more at techscreen.com.
Thank you so much. And I won't be a stranger. I'm really looking forward to watching your journey.